Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I think if you ask any of us, what do you really want in life? Probably one of the top three things are going to be, I want more money, I want more success, maybe more love in your life. Basically, it's the umbrella of abundance. And how do you get that? How do you bring it to you? We're going to talk to Winnie Chan Wang today. She's the founder and healer of Mindful Healing Heart. You can find her at mindfulhealingheart.com. She's an acupuncturist. She's a success coach, a life coach. Like, your resume is like so long. I don't even have time to go through everything here. But Winnie, great to have you back. How's everything going today?
Thank you for having me, Steve. Sometimes I laugh at my resume or my bio. Sometimes I just want my host to introduce me as a well-loved woman.
Don't we all want something like that? Yeah. She's cool. She's Winnie. There you go. Done. Yeah, but you help so many people. You have such a rich, interesting look at many different things that we all think about. We go day to day. These are things that are resonating on our minds. When we say the word abundance, how do you define the word abundance?
That's an excellent question. My belief is that God doesn't do mistakes. And God created a perfect me and a perfect you. And to all the audience that's listening right now, you know, God made each and every one perfect. And perfect with diversity, right? Some of us are women, some of us are men, some of us are different skin colors. You know, some of us are good at cooking, and some of us are good at healing, and some of us are excellent radio talk hosts. So we each have our gift. We have what we have, and we don't have what we don't have. And that's perfect by design, because we're meant to share the gift with each other. You know, for example, let's say, Steve, you're really good at cooking chicken, and I'm really good at buying the best strawberries. Then when we have a potluck dinner together, then you're cooking the chicken and I am going to the farmer's market and buying strawberries, right? So it's this idea is, if we play a single player game, like we're individuals, you're in your lane and I'm in my lane, and you do everything by yourself and you work hard, you struggle, and I do everything by myself, I work hard and struggle. Well, why? Why do we make ourselves do things that maybe we're not good at, when we can just come together and share the abundance? And, you know, I teach this class and I have this like 10 metrics. Some of us are abundant in health, and some of us are abundant in connections. Some of us are abundant in money. Ideally, we want to be abundant in everything, but sometimes we can trade, right? Somebody who is abundant in money doesn't necessarily have an abundance in health. So for example, people can find out, well, okay, well, I have a lot of this and I have a lot of this, and I don't have enough of this and I don't have enough of this, then let's do exchange. So yeah, so I really feel that love is the answer to everything. And I know it sounds so cheesy. And that's why my goal in life is to be a well-loved woman. You see, because love to me is connection, right? So it's my connection to myself. It's my connection to you, Steve, my connection to the audience, my connection to God, my connection to the rich and famous, whatever. It's all about connection. Because if I know enough people, then there's somebody who can do that thing in exchange for something that I have to offer.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I kind of live my life that way too. And, you know, I was sitting the other day in a parking lot. I have this old junky Jeep and I just use it for my kayaks and just for fun. Hardly have time to use it. Figured I'd take it out. Brake line broke. No brakes, literally driving, boop, no brakes. And Now what? I'm not really a car guy. I'm a little techie, but not that far. Call up my friend Anthony. He's a car guy. And it's funny how the universe puts us where we need to be at the right time. He was available. He came by. I waited for him. It took about an hour. He came by. Um, he's having a relationship issue and been there, done that. And I was there to help him with that. He was there to help me with my car. And it kind of like
Exactly.
we helped each other at that time. Yeah. Yep.
And so let's talk about the shadow aspect, because, okay, of course, we all want to share and, have connection and love and trust, and all that sounds great. But I would say, even myself, instead of having harmony and abundance, a lot of the times I find myself feeling like a powerless victim. And I'm entering these power struggle, for example, with my parents or with my children, and I find myself in conflict. So let's talk a little bit about using that as a report card and how we can go from conflict to harmony, and how we can go from scarcity, lack, victim mindset into abundance, right? So, in my book, Honoring Darkness, Embrace Shadow Work to Nourish and Grow Your Power, I identify these 10 shadows. So right now we're in shadow 6, 7. What I find is, and this literally happened, I think either last night or the night before, when I had a fight with my parents, right? It was on the topic of money, but actually it's not about money. It's about something bigger. It's about trust. It's about listening. So in the book, I talk about how to use every trigger as an opportunity to look at where I have disempowered myself and how I can grow authenticity and gain that power. And so what I experienced in this telephone call is that my parents don't trust me. They use fear, guilt, shame to manipulate me. They think they know better than me, and they're not listening to me. They don't respect me. They don't appreciate me. They treat me like a 3-year-old, and they try to be controlling, and they try to tell me what to do. Okay, so I'm sure everybody at some point in their life have had this experience with their parents, where the parents try to tell them what to do, and you're like, but you're not me. You don't have the gifts that I have, and I don't have the limitations that you have. Like, we're different people. You're projecting your ancestral karma, your generational trauma. You're projecting all of that stuff onto me. So for example, actually, I have a lot of hip pain, knee pain, and ankle pain. And, in the energetic medicine, the reason why we have hip pain, knee pain, and ankle pain is because we don't feel safe in this world. Well, gee, how am I going to feel safe in the world if my parents are always constantly bombarding me with fear? Right. And we know that shame is stored in the genital areas, right? So in the bottom of our body, the root chakra, and they're always throwing shame out like candy. They make me feel stupid if I don't listen to them or do what they say. And also, there is this hierarchy, like, I'm the parent, I know better. So instead of practicing humility, practicing compassion, where I listen to you and you and I are equal, right? It's just like, I am marinating in their fear, and they're handing out, shame and unworthiness. And so I was like, okay, I need to do something, because if I don't do anything, I'll continue to have hip pain, knee pain, and ankle pain. For example, hip pain is about feeling safe in the world, and knee pain is about feeling supported. Well, I don't feel supported because I feel by the way my parents talk to me. Their support and love is conditional. If I obey them, then they will, support me. But if I don't obey them, then all that support is just gonna go. Like, every time you say an if-then statement, if you don't do this, then this will happen to you. It's blackmail. It's blackmail all the time. 42 years, I received conditional love. And so instead of being a powerless victim and in the scarcity mindset where I'm like, okay, I can never get the kind of parenting that I want. I can never get unconditional love, acceptance, and support from my parents. Instead of feeling like I'm in this world, nobody understands me, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to look at how I have disempowered myself. And the way that I have disempowered myself is that I stop honoring, respecting, and appreciating and trusting the divine in me. And it's really funny because, and I talk more in detail in this book, if I experience that my parents are not listening to me, then I'm not listening to me. And I'm not listening to them. I'm also not respecting, honoring, and appreciating the divine in them. So there's 4 iterations when we experience this. My parents don't trust me. My parents don't trust themselves. I don't trust me. I don't trust my parents. Now, I don't get to control what my parents do, but I do have control over what I do. And this is how we re-empower ourselves. So I get to take ownership and look at where I don't trust myself and where I don't trust my parents. Now, of course, I know my parents love me, support, and protect me. And I have resistance about the way that they deliver the love, support, and protection. It's a very controlling way. Well, guess what? I get to trust their guidance on how I manage my money and whatever they say. God speaks through my mouth, and God speaks through Steve, your mouth, and God speaks through my parents' mouth. So if I just set boundaries and don't listen to my mom and dad and just walk away from my mom and dad, I'm basically selectively saying, okay, God, I want your love, support, and protection when it comes like this. And I don't want your love, protection, and support when it looks like that. I am being conditional in the way I receive love, protection, and support. So this comes back to really funny because what I really, really want is unconditional acceptance from my parents. So what I get to practice is I get to offer myself unconditional acceptance and offer them unconditional acceptance. And not only will that bring harmony to our relationship, but harmony is the foundation for abundance. There's a Chinese saying called 家和万事兴. What that means is when there's harmony in the family, everything you do is abundant. So in a way, I really feel like God didn't do a mistake by giving me this particular set of parents or this particular set of children or this particular set of lovers in my life, because they delivered the lesson that I get to learn. And I get to be really grateful for all the lessons because I can see that I'm becoming more and more abundant in health, in love, and finances.
And it's not a matter of you need to, you choose to. So
Yeah.
what's happening is being done for you as a lesson. And you can take what your parents say, filter it, and take those things that you really think work for you. You know, they might have, little nuggets of information. They might have an idea here, an idea there. You may not agree with all of their ideas culturally. That's how they were brought up, but I look at it as a filter. And then, of course, you could say that they don't serve me anymore and I'm not going to deal with them, but they are your parents. And I, quite honestly, transparently, my ex's family friend told me about a year ago, they don't serve you anymore. And I was like, wait a minute, but their family, though, in a way, have known them for years. They don't serve you anymore. So I don't talk to them because it just doesn't work. But they're not blood relatives. That's different when it's your parents. But, I think in the filter, but, you realize that you can use whatever they say to your advantage if you pick pieces of what they say.
Yeah. And something that I learned really recently, because we want to make the distinction between blood relative and not blood relative, and whether we want to create boundaries or whatnot. And for so many years, I struggled with this idea of setting boundaries with my mom, because I feel that, well, I really want unconditional love, acceptance, and forgiveness from my mother. So why wouldn't I give unconditional love, forgiveness, and acceptance to my mom? And I do. But there are still instances when I get to practice boundaries. And what I find is that boundaries is what I call temporary protection, so that I can give myself the space to come back to the divine in me. And then when I'm connected to my divine, that's when I can be unconditional in my love and acceptance. And so in the middle of this conflict, I just said, Mom, for the sake of our relationship, I'm going to hang up right now, because I don't want to say things that I regret later. I don't want you to say things that you regret later. So to protect both of us from hurting each other, let's hang up right now. And I knew that kind of boundary is good and necessary. And I'm going to take as long as I take until I can come back to my divine love self, when I feel abundant and connected to God. And then I can try to talk to her again. Now, then I want to tell a quick story. This is a Buddhist story. Okay, so there's a frog on one side of the pond, and then there's a Scorpio on the other side of the pond. The Scorpio says to the frog, hey, can you take me across the pond? I can't swim. The frog says, no, because you're going to, put your poison on me, and then we're going to both die in the middle of the pond. And the Scorpio says, well, why would I do that? Because if that happens, you die and I die. And the frog said, okay. And so the frog carries the Scorpio, and in the middle, the Scorpio attacks the frog, and then they both die. So the moral of that story, it really, really served me, because I used to think that, wow, if I really love my mom, my dad, my romantic partner, my daughters, I want to rescue them. I want to fix them. I want to help them. I want them to cross to the other side. I want them to see the light on the other side. And what I now realize from this story is that sometimes it is not safe for us to help other people. And we get to practice discernment as to whether that person has done enough work on their own, that they have released enough toxicity in themselves, they have enough discipline and emotional regulation and all of that for us to go on this journey together. And so finally I made peace with, okay, you know, sometimes we set boundaries with people who haven't done the work to release the toxic patterns. And then I take a step back and I laugh at myself, because how often have I tried when the Scorpio doesn't even want to cross in the first place? Right? How often do I try to fix the other person when the other person thinks that they're perfect? Nothing needs fixing. How often have I said, you need to go to therapy, and then the person's like, nope. And so I am the fool if I am saying to the Scorpio, hey, do you want me to take you across the pond? And then the Scorpio's like, no, I'm happy where I am. I don't ever want to cross the pond. So wisdom is recognizing when to leave people alone, because it's not that they're hopeless and beyond rescuing, but if they don't want it, it's not going to be good for us. And even if they want it, they have to take responsibility. They have to do some work. It's not just us rescuing them. They have to be willing to do some of the work also.
It's absolutely true. And there's a cliche, you can't help everybody, even though you want to. And we may be able to see clearly what somebody needs, even just a sentence of advice, but sometimes it falls on deaf ears because they're not ready to hear the message. And I guess maybe we have to recognize that we can't, you know, that they're not the person for us to help. Just got to move past it. Yeah. I actually, my friends and I have a mutual friend that always claims to be the victim. And we've come to the realization that there's nothing we can do. There's, you know, I've done everything. Even just like 2 months ago, I was cleaning out some stuff. I was moving. I gave her a power washer for her house. She's like, how much do I owe you? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's okay. You know, you're a friend. And she actually turned negative on a lot of us. And there's nothing you can do. It's like, that's her. She's got to fix that. That's her battles. Yeah. Internally. Sometimes you got to walk away. Sometimes you got to walk away.
And that's the thing is, you know, my mother loves to play the role of the victim, and then my dad would jump in as the rescuer, and that makes me the persecutor, and I'm like the bad guy, and we have this triangle going. And this is detailed in chapter 2.7, and that it's really funny because for as long as we keep playing the role like victim or the bully or the rescuer, as long as we're attached to these roles, we're never going to get to abundance. So the question is, how do we graduate ourselves from feeling like a victim or graduate ourselves from being the rescuer? And I think that, you know, because we've had thousands of years of patriarchy, more often women are likely to be the victim and men more likely to be the rescuer. And then we take turns being the person who dishes out pain on other people. And I know that I do that. So I talk about that in the book. The moment that we can finally give up this triangle is when we realize I have been a rescuer, a victim, and also the bully. I have played the part in all points of the triangle. And at some point you're like, no drama. No drama. Like at some point you just want to step out of that drama triangle. You're like, enough is enough. I don't want this suffering anymore. I don't want conflict. I want to just step out of this triangle and into harmony and abundance.
It's funny that you're saying this, Winnie, because even with this group text of these friends, every day we talk about Kelly, that's her name, and we feel bad, but there's nothing we can do, but we recount things that she's done. And now it's at the point she's winning. because she's, well, I was going to send a text to everybody today in the group that just like, let's not talk about it anymore. And that's not that we don't want to be around her. We're careful about it. Sometimes it gets kind of sour. Sometimes she has a little too much to drink, and it's just like, eesh. um, but yeah, it's sometimes you just gotta, push it aside. There's other, because you can't feel abundance when you're allowing other people's energy to kind of weigh you down.
Yeah, sometimes we have to practice discernment like the frog and understand we want to help as many people cross over as possible. What I like to think is I want to be a guide. So instead of me carrying you on my back, can I swim next to you and show you the strokes? Can I show you the shortest distance to the other side?
Yep.
Instead of me carrying you on my back. And it's exhausting. And quite frankly, I'm not interested in doing that.
Right. And it's funny. I have another friend who is a lot like you. You remind me of her, and she says the same exact thing. I'll show you how to do it. I'm not doing it for you, and I'll do it with you to a point, but I'm going to show you how to do it. That's it.
Yeah, that's why I have this online community called Compassionate Transformation. And literally every Wednesday, I release a video where I have talk about the download or the lesson I learned this week in the collective. I channel a message, and then I offer a blessing also, because the best is if you go do the work yourself.
Yeah. And it's so much more beneficial when you have that aha moment when you're doing the work yourself, instead of having somebody literally take your hand. Just you need to get advice and figure it out for yourself, because everybody's different. We all know what we need to fix. Most of us know that. Sometimes we need people to tell us a little bit about that. But tell me about your book real quick. I know we've talked about it before, but we can find that on your website, right?
Yes. So my website is mindfulhealingheart.com. It's very easy to remember because mindful healing starts from the heart. And I am a healthcare practitioner who really believes that affordable healthcare should be available to everyone, regardless of your insurance status or your income.
Agreed.
And the number one thing that you can do to help yourself is to heal yourself. One thing I love to say is, why do you have to wait till your lower back hurts to come see me? Why do you have to wait till you lose your eyesight to see me? Why do you have to wait till you cough to see me? If you follow me on social media or you join the online community and watch these weekly videos, it's literally could be 5 minutes a day, and it prevents you from illnesses. So you don't need to go to the doctor. And so I want to share one quick thing is I have the honor of being recognized as a leader in the healthcare industry. So I'm going to be in Las Vegas speaking at a conference. And I really want to talk about preventative medicine, because why do we have to wait till we have high blood pressure and diabetes and cancer to see the doctor? Like, why are we not taking care of our health today? Right. So, it's like the Scorpio. Why are we not unloading the toxins today? And then we just rely on the doctor to take care of us when we're sick. And so from the bottom of my heart, I really hope that people can follow me on social media and join my online community, because all of these are free resources. There's no excuses why you don't have abundant health, love, and finances.
I love
and
it.
then for those who want to go a step further, because I do love to carry people across the river, buy my book. And also I offer an 11-week course where I literally hold your hand the entire time as we swim. And, I'm swimming next to you and with you, but it's so much fun. And, it's amazing. The purpose of life is to experience love. And so I really hope that everyone give me the opportunity to help you open your heart to experience love.
Thank you for that. And I also want to share with you, my knee hurts occasionally.
Yeah, so you're feeling unsupported.
100,000%. And I never connected those dots, Winnie, until you just said that. And I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking to see that, but that is the reality. So I'll get to work on that. But thank you.
Yeah, so actually, Steve, if you go on calendly.com/mindful healing heart, just book a free discovery call. I can talk about your knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. It's so funny. And it doesn't hurt all the time. And it's not like like an injury or something like that. Every once in a while, I was like, yeah, that's a little painful. I wonder why that's doing that. And I should be mindful of what I'm going through at that time. And maybe that would hold an answer as to why my knee hurts. Winnie is available, mindfulhealingheart.com. Always great talking with you. You make us think, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and for all the listeners out there, my offer for this free discovery call is not just for Steve. For anybody who wants to talk to me about their health problems or love problems, you can find the link from my website.
Swim next to Winnie. Absolutely. All right. Looking forward to catching up again next time.
Take care.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.